Thus, we intend to enforce your compliance. We can do it the good way or the bad way. Hello, friends. While we were sleeping, there is a real revolution happening in the world of cryptocurrencies. The House Speaker who agreed to fund the government for 45 days for the sake of delaying the shutdown, McCarthy, has just been fired. Yes, it's a big event that happened, it must be said, for the first time in American history. And I want to emphasize that the Speaker of the House of Representatives is the third figure in government after the President and Vice President of the United States. Which means this post is very influential and important. But what does this have to do with cryptocurrencies? Crypto-friendly Patrick McHenry becomes interim Speaker of the House of Representatives. Prior to that, he served as chairman of the Financial Services Committee. So now we have the interim Speaker of the House of Representatives, the third most powerful figure in the US, who is in favor of cryptocurrencies. Cross-border payments and financial markets specialist Sin Tuffy writes if Patrick McHenry has to take over as Speaker, he will relinquish the chairmanship of the Financial Services Committee. This would eliminate a cryptocurrency proponent, which could affect attempts to push a cryptocurrency bill through in the US. Yes, McHenry is a supporter of cryptocurrencies. And he, as chairman of the Financial Services Committee, is working to pass pro-cryptocurrency bills. For example, he is the author of the Preserving Innovation in America Act. He believes that cryptocurrency and Web 3.0 will lead to unprecedented job growth and Americans will regain control of their economy, finances, and the internet. In addition, McHenry favors clear rules to regulate cryptocurrency in the US, does not consider Bitcoin a security, does not support the sex crusade against crypto, and threatens Gary Gensler with a lawsuit. But let's go back to this post and look at the other side of the coin. Caitlin Long made a good point. If McHenry is indeed appointed Speaker, he will control the House agenda. In other words, his role as Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives is far more influential than his role as Chairman of the Financial Services Committee. And it's very important for both him in the fight for cryptocurrencies in the United States. Because look what he was saying the other day. Let me be clear. I don't want to be the first chairman of this committee to issue a subpoena against the SEC. And you, Gary Gensler, clearly must not want to be the first SEC chairman to receive a subpoena from Congress. It was September 27th of this year. A few days ago, and I didn't expect that suddenly the author of those words would become the interim Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, the third highest-ranking figure in the United States. It can be said that this represents SEC's first loss to date. The first, but not the last. Let's move on to Coinbase and Ripple XRP. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I've noticed that there are more and more of these little things, unnoticed at first, that are related to cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is no longer something that sits on the back of techno-geeks, it now stands right at the front. And the closer the US presidential election gets, the more obvious and clear this is. And I see cryptocurrencies struggling in the US and apparently they are winning. Paul Grewal of Coinbase laid it out very well in his narrative. The SEC just filed an opposition to our motion to dismiss the case against Coinbase, and this is against the backdrop that McHenry is now the interim Speaker of the House. Preliminary observation: the SEC makes a statement over and over again about what the law should be, but without any legal argument. Yes, the SEC doesn't have any laws that support their position. But a cryptocurrency company like Coinbase does find laws it can lean on. The assets we list on our exchange are not securities and are not subject to the jurisdiction of the SEC. Court decisions over the past few months confirm this. The SEC, on the other hand, states that absolutely everything from Pokemon cards to Swiftly bracelets are also securities. But isn't that statement ridiculous? This is a ridiculous claim that the SEC is actually using in its fight against cryptocurrencies. And as Congressman Torres said, it's not the law. The SEC's ongoing crusade also ignores the voice of the 52 million cryptocurrency group in the US who want rules and regulations for this innovative technology. Over the past week, more than 40 cryptocurrency companies have joined the Support Cryptocurrency movement across the country to make the case for necessary legislation that protects consumers, promotes innovation, and creates jobs and opportunity in the US. And that's a view shared by Interim House Speaker McHenry. That's why I think this is a big deal, just like the new Ripple XRP win. As we can see, a lot of companies are joining Coinbase in their fight against SEC. Judge dismisses SEC's appeal of the XRP ruling. This is important not just for XRP holders, who are certainly happy right now, but for the entire cryptocurrency space, including absolutely every altcoin that the SEC has ever called securities. In dismissing the SEC's interlocutory appeal, the court points to the Commission's inability to justify the appeal and inability to demonstrate to the court how the appeal would change their decision. The SEC first relied on the Howey test in its lawsuit against Ripple and the court's misapplication of it, but completely reversed course on appeal. The court, however, continues to insist on its correct interpretation of the price of the paper in the investment contract. It's all complicated, but in simple terms, SEC is wrong about everything. It misapplies the law from the court's perspective. The July 13 decision was and remains the law of the land. XRP is not a security. Cardano is not a security. All tokens and coins that are traded on the Coinbase exchange, which the SEC has also sued, are not securities. Which means the trial itself is completely pointless. Simply because the law is the same for everyone. That's why this new Ripple XRP win is so important. The court dismissed the SEC's appeal. SEC continues to lose, cryptocurrency continues to win. And I think that during this SEC war against cryptocurrencies and against all those in the administration who hate cryptocurrencies, any victory is elation and a desire to celebrate. But I think it's extremely important to stay humble right now, not to get cocky or excited ahead of time. It's a victory in battle, but not in war. After all, the SEC can't appeal now, it was dismissed, but the judge set a trial date in April 2024, at which time the remaining issues will be decided. And after that, the SEC will only be able to appeal again after a trial on all remaining issues. And something tells me that the SEC will once again not be successful in its quest. Once again, baked-in House Speaker Patrick McHenry is issuing an ultimatum to Gary Gensler. We can do things the right way or the wrong way. Chairman Gensler, last time we were here, I asked you about the airwaves. In 2018 you said Bitcoin and Ether, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are not securities. That's why I want to focus on Bitcoin. Why do you believe Bitcoin is not a security? Thank you, Chairman. And I think you're referring to remarks I made as a professor at MIT. And as I wrote in my paper at the time, it was about the so-called Howey test. And the Supreme Court describes it by asking whether society expects to make a profit based on the efforts of others. And as I think I noted in that paper back in 2018, that I didn't see that in Bitcoin. But in your opinion, do you think Bitcoin is not a security? I think the SEC staff and the previous chair. I'm just asking you this question, it's not a joke. I think it's a simple question, the hard one is yet to come. Is Bitcoin a security? Well, I think I've talked about this in the past. I want to hear the answer now. I know I said Bitcoin doesn't meet the Howey test, which is the law of the land on what an investment contract is. Ergo, Bitcoin is a commodity, isn't it? Well, I would say it's not a security and let it be valued under a different law. But the CFTC, for example, has said it has no authority over Bitcoin and digital goods. Do you think legislation is needed to protect consumers in the world of digital assets, particularly Bitcoin? I think I have testified to that before here in this committee room 4 years ago as a private citizen. That for those parts of the cryptocurrency ecosystem that are not securities under the Commodity Exchange Act, the CFTC has some anti-fraud authority. But they do not have the authority to write the rules for this area. And as I've said in the past, I support our sister agency, if I may say so, an agency that I once had the honor of leading, which I like very much, but it doesn't have that authority. But if Congress moves in that direction, it could help the CFTC acquire them. So, the cryptocurrency spot market lacks regulation and stable legislation. Should we take any action in this direction? I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. Are you talking about the pound market, the securities? My point is that the CFTC has no authority to regulate cryptocurrencies, which means we need to step in to have Congress give them that authority. Let me continue. I've already talked about your failure to comply with the Commission's requests. You believe the Commission should vote to grant access to non-public information to our committee. Is that right? Under the Exchange Act, I believe the Commission needs a vote. Have you scheduled the vote necessary to provide non-public documents to our committee? Well, I think we worked with your staff. We provided somewhere over 40,000 pages of documents. Yes, but none of the documents you provided were non-public documents. In fact, you provided one of the letters we wrote to you as responsive documents. That's just absurd. So, the Office of General Counsel informed my staff that after a 10-week review process, these documents were ready to be turned over. All that is needed is a vote. When do you intend to schedule this vote? Well, we continue to work with you and your staff. It shouldn't be hard for the SEC chair to provide these documents. You have 30 basic rules, but you don't want to provide us with even basic documents. Your irresponsibility is not following the rules, and we will be forced to take action if you are unwilling to comply with our requirements. You have a 10-week review process going on and you haven't even submitted your documents. Moreover, you haven't even done an economic analysis of your actions, which will affect everyone who owns stocks, bonds, or any other type of securities. Thus, we intend to enforce your compliance. We can do it the good way or the bad way. My name is Richest D. I'll see you in the new videos. I'll see you soon.